very heartfelt. And so my talk today is going to require lots of audience participation, because whenever I start getting teary-eyed, I want all of you to start giving me funny faces so I can... Otherwise, I'm never going to get through this, okay? So I really am counting on each and every one of you to help me with this.
Okay.
Okay? So I really can't think of a better theme for the month of December than forgiveness and birth. For many people, the holiday season is just full of love, joy, and laughter with lots of friends. But for other people, it can be a time of sadness. And, you know, there's lots of feelings going on from things that have happened in our past that really bring up lots of hurt during the holiday season. And some of us, this hurt is really deep. The scars really run deep. Because we are all human, we are all going to be hurt. And we're also going to be hurting others. Because we are human, and life is not perfect, and there's going to be things that we do that create hurt in others. And that hurt can just have a huge trajectory on the outcome of our lives. So it's really important for us to really deal with that hurt. Jade introduced us to a book in our women's circle called The Book of Forgiving, and it's written by Desmond and Mipu Tutu. And it's just an amazing book, and I'm using this as the basis for my talk today, and also for the path to forgiveness. In the book, they acknowledge that hurt, insult, harm, and loss are an inevitable part of us being human. We're always going to be having those feelings. Life will not be perfect. But it's really how we deal with those feelings that's going to make all the difference. So we can live in our pain and our anger and our loss, or we can choose to move to the path of forgiveness. The choice is really ours. So for this holiday season, I have chosen to give myself the gift of forgiveness. Phil is going to help me out today by reading some of the beautiful poems that are in the book, Forgiveness. So would you like to start with the first one, Phil?
Prayer before the prayer. I want to be willing to forgive, but I dare not ask for the will to forgive in case you give it to me. And I am not ready. I am not ready yet for my heart to soften. I am not ready yet to be vulnerable again. Not yet ready to see that there is humanity in my tormentor's eyes, or that the one who hurt me may also have cried. I am not ready yet for the journey. I am not yet interested in the path. I am at the prayer before the prayer of forgiveness. Grant me the will to want to forgive. Grant it to me not yet, but soon. Can I even form the words, forgive me? Dare I even look? Do I dare to see the hurt I have caused? Is there a place where we can meet, you and me? The place in the middle, the no man's land, where we straddle the lines, where you are right and I am right too, and both of us are wrong and wronged. Can we meet there and look for the place where the path begins, the path that ends when we forgive?
Thank you, Bill. Isn't that beautiful? Well, as Luann said earlier, Shakur said earlier, I have just begun the Sufi path, and I just love my new name of Nurazima. And one of the Sufi paths that I'm following is really getting into meditation and letting spirit into the depths of my soul, because that's what my name is all about, letting spirit into the depths of my soul. Well, I went to my first Killbot last spring, and I was just struck by how my heart was so closed. I could not let spirit in. And so I talked to my wonderful spiritual guide, Saladin, and he helped me understand that it was because I wasn't loving myself. And I laid relationship I had with my mother that really made me not love myself. And this relationship I had with her was really the key to opening up my heart and learning to love myself. Not forgiving her had put my heart in bondage, literally. So I believe that one of the keys to loving myself was learning to forgive my mom. And coming into a new way of knowing and being and feeling with her. My mom passed away about a year and a half ago. And it's just recently that I've really started the path of forgiveness with her. So before I forget, I can't even talk, I'm sorry, I'm so nervous. So before I begin, I want you to know that I do really love my mom. And she has brought me a lot of blessings. But the relationship we had really created a lot of hurt throughout my life, even throughout my adulthood. We had a very difficult relationship with lots of criticism and judgment, and what to me felt like a lack of love. And the hurt went both ways. The more that I felt unloved, the more that I retaliated and fought back with her. And so it was a vicious cycle. The book of forgiveness talks a lot about this cycle and how we get into this cycle of retaliation and we just can't get out of it. And so the key is to really begin to understand that we can forgive so we can move out of that cycle. The details of our relationship really aren't as important as that I really am learning to forgive her for them. The book of forgiveness states that in our own ways, we are all broken. Okay? So in our own ways, we are all broken. Out of that brokenness, we hurt others. Forgiveness is the journey we take toward healing the broken parts. It's how we become whole again. And that really hit me, that resonated with me when I read that, because one day Spirit, when I was meditating, Spirit just gave me the word broken. And all of a sudden my heart opened with compassion for my mom, because I realized that she had a story too, and that she didn't do what she did out of a lack of love for me. She was doing what she only knew how to do. And so that really opened up for me the path to forgive her. Tutu states that there are two simple truths. There is nothing that can't be forgiven, and there is no one that is undeserving of forgiveness. And this book talks about some of the most amazing stories of forgiveness. And one of them that really resonated was a drunk driver who hit a car and killed 2 of the children inside the car. And after that person got out of prison, the mother was actually able to forgive her. And together, they started this journey together of going out and talking to people about, the drunken driving. And I thought that was just such a beautiful story of forgiveness. So I'm sure that inside each and every one of us, there's somebody that we could forgive. And I'm not talking about the forgiveness that comes with conditions like, well, I'll forgive you when you stop doing what you're doing, or I'll forgive you when you tell me that you're sorry and you apologize. That is not true forgiveness. I just have to tell you that. Putting conditions on forgiveness is not forgiveness. And all you're doing by doing that is remaining a victim. So we need to remember that we aren't forgiving other people. We're doing the forgiveness, we're forgiving other people, but we're doing the forgiveness work for ourselves. It's really not about the other person, it's about doing the forgiveness work for us. So by adding conditions to the forgiveness work, we're just remaining victims. So what we want to offer is what Tutu describes as unconditional forgiveness. And in this, we are giving forgiveness as a gift. It's a grace that we give to each other. And it's just, there's no conditions at all to it. When we forgive unconditionally, we are unshackled from our past, and it's easier for us to move forward in our lives and heal and to grow from the experience and to no longer be a victim. I also want to mention that the invitation to forgive is not, it doesn't mean that we're forgetting the hurt or we're minimizing the hurt. And it certainly does not erase the accountability of the act. We have to remember we're forgiving for ourselves. So it's simply understanding that each one of us is inherently good and inherently flawed. We're all human. And isn't that the best way to start the forgiveness path? So the invitation to forgive simply encourages each and every one of us to find peace and healing within us. So the Book of Forgiveness offered me 4 steps to use to help in the path to forgive my mother. And they start with telling the story, naming the hurt, then actually doing the forgiveness, and then either dissolving or renewing or releasing the relationship. So I'd like to share a little bit of my journey using these steps, and I want to acknowledge that there's lots of different ways to forgive, and this is just one of many. So it's important to find a forgiveness path that works for us, each and every one of us. So the important thing is not how you do it, it's that you do it, and you begin with the path. Tutu says that telling our story really requires vulnerability and risk. And it really helps us to get our dignity back after we have been hurt. So it's really important that we do tell our story. I don't have time to really go into all the nuances of our relationship, but just to let you know, it was difficult and complicated, as many relationships are. And that it was compounded by my mother's illness when I was 13 years old. So my story is mainly of the emotional pain that she caused me. And I just want you to know when you tell your story that there are many ways to do it. You could do it in front of an audience like I'm doing, or you might choose to go and tell a trusted friend or a professional. Or you might choose to go to the person that hurt you, which sometimes is very healing. But it's important to find somebody you can trust who is really empathic, that really will understand you. That's the most important thing. And just start by telling the facts and see where it goes. Sometimes it's hard to really start telling your story, but if you just start with the facts, the rest just kind of comes out. Since my mother's passed away, I decided that I'm going to write her a letter. And I'm going to let her know exactly what she did to me and how it hurt me. And I think that's going to really help me in the path of forgiveness. We must remember that people who have harmed us also have a story. This is really important. They have wounded us because we have stepped inside their story, and they have used their pain and their shame and their ignorance to bring harm to us. You have to remember that it's not about us, it's about their story and what they're experiencing. I learned much about this in the family constellation work that Harold did, and really learning that we are affected and we carry the wounds of our ancestors. So once I understood this concept, it was much easier for me to see where my mom was coming from. And then I had a new version of a story where I was no longer a victim. But instead, I was a survivor. And that way I have the ability to learn and grow. So Bill, you want to read our second poem?
Meet me here. Speak my name. I am not your enemy. I am your teacher. I may even be your friend. Let us tell our story together, you and I. My name is anger. I say you have been wrong. My name is shame. My story is your hidden pain. My name is fear. My story is vulnerability. My name is resentment. I say, should have been different. My name is grief. My name is depression. My name is heartache. My name is anxiety. I have many names and many lessons. I am not your enemy. I am your teacher. Amen.
Thank you, Bill. So the second step in the road to the path of forgiveness is naming the hurt. And it's really interesting. Research shows that a psychological wound is processed in our brain the exact same way a physical wound is. Isn't that interesting? So no matter how we get wounded, it's all processed the same way in our brain. And so all of these hurts are equal. You know, they're all being processed in our brain the same. So the saying sticks and stones will break my bones and names will never hurt me is grossly inaccurate. If we can get to a place where we can name the hurt that we felt, if we can't get to a place where we can name the hurt we felt, it can lead to self-destructive behaviors and really make our life miserable. So giving our emotions a name really helps us understand how our stories have affected us. Naming the hurt can begin to heal and help us to move forward. Tutu says, we can't let go of feelings that we don't own. I want to say that again because I think that is so important. We can't let go of feelings that we don't own. So I sat in meditation, thought about my mom, our relationship, and I came up with lots and lots of feelings. Feelings of not being loved or appreciated. Feeling disconnected from her, not having any love connection whatsoever. Being disappointed in the fact that we didn't have a good relationship and that I always longed for that. I would see my friends with wonderful relationships with their mom and always felt bad I didn't have one. And I really felt lots of anger and resentment, lots of it. By God, how could she do this to me? I was a good kid. I didn't even get into trouble. I didn't even drink till I graduated high school. I always did what she told me to do, but with attitude most of the time. But still, I did it. You know, how could she be mean to me? I just did not understand it. So, as Tutu says, if we feel anger, I am human. If I stay locked in my anger, I'm a prisoner. And by golly, I don't want to be a prisoner of my mom anymore. So there. So this is really the key to forgiveness, is, you know, really getting down to what are those hurts and identifying them and bringing them to the surface. And, you know, and it's not easy to go through those hurts, you know, and that's maybe why we bury them, because it's so painful to really experience them. But we need to do it. So by naming these feelings, I can see some of that resentment just melt away. And I understand that her actions weren't about me. It was because I had stepped into her story. And I was the innocent victim of that. Okay. Thank you. So the next step is really granting the forgiveness. Now that we've been able to tell our story and name our feelings, we can maybe begin to grant forgiveness. And I say maybe because all of our stories are so different. And I might be ready to start my forgiveness path, but others might not be. So the importance is to go back, re-feel those feelings, retell your story until you're ready to do that forgiveness. Each of us process all of this in our very own unique and special ways, and so it's important to find the one that works best for you. What's important to remember is that the longer we do not forgive, the more we remain the victim of our story. And so, do we want to keep being a victim of our story, or do we want to start a new story? It's really up to us. So my forgiveness was rooted in my mom's story. My mom's ancestors. I'm sorry, I'm going to start doing it. Okay, come on. Thank you. Russia, and they immigrated to the U.S. during the Russian Revolution. A lot of Germans were sent to Russia by Catherine the Great, because she was German. And so my great-grandparents immigrated to North Dakota, where they started farming. That's where my grandparents met and fell in love and started their family. Well, then the Dust Bowl, the Depression, and the grasshoppers happened, and they were forced to leave their farm in North Dakota. And they all packed up, all 11 of them packed up into a flatbed pickup and found their way to Grantsdale, Montana, where the fields were fertile and there was joy and abundance abounding in Grantsdale, Montana. There was plenty of farming work for them. But life is hard, you know. They didn't get paid much to help others farm. And they were trying to, you know, save money to buy a piece of land for themselves. So the children are put to work at early ages. As soon as they could, you know, pull a weed and pick a berry, they were out in the fields working. And my mom was responsible for taking care of all those kids, as well as cousins, because once all the cousins and the aunts and uncles found out how wonderful Grantsdale, Montana was, they all came along to North Dakota. So I'm sure that my mom was brought up with a lot more discipline than love. Life is really serious, and so learning how to stay alive and to work hard so you could survive was what life was all about. Mom didn't even make it through the 8th grade because she was needed at home, so she had very little education. And her parenting style, I'm sure, was learned from her mother, who learned from her mother, all down the line. So when I was 13, Mom had a brain tumor operation that paralyzed her whole right side, and my life changed immediately, because I became the chief bottle washer and cook in the house. And so my life changed a lot. And it wasn't until recently that I was able to step out of my story of how it affected me to step into her story of what it must have felt like to lose your independence. Here was this hard-working mother who, you know, her identity came with being a perfect mother and wife, and doing everything herself, to not being able to do anything, and to be relying on everybody to do everything for her. And so her mothering skills kicked in because, you know, we had to survive, so she became, you know, even more wanting me to be a hard worker, and so her love went into doing that. Her love went into making me survive. So I'm really beginning to understand her a lot better, and what her story was, and why she might have done what she did to me. So I can move out of that story of betrayal, and instead I can write a new story of understanding love. So the final step in this process, I'm glad I'm almost done, is to write a new story or release the relationship. So Bill, you have one more poem for us?
We cannot begin again. We cannot make a new start as though the past has not passed. But we can plant something new in the burnt ground. In time, we will harvest a new story of who we are. We will build a relationship that is tempered by the fire of our history. You are a person who has hurt me. I am a person who could hurt you. And knowing those truths, we choose to make something new. Forgiveness is my back bent to clear away the dead tangle of hurt and recrimination, and make a space, a field fit for planting. When I stand to survey this place, I can choose to invite you in to sow seeds for a different harvest. Or I can choose to let you go and let that field lie fallow.
So for many, the hurt that we've experienced is irreparable. It might involve safety issues, somebody that's hurt you physically. It might be somebody that's hurt you so badly that there's no way that you're ready to forgive them or ever will. okay to walk away from that relationship. It's okay to build a new story around your life without that person in it. So, one way that I'm learning to move into a new story is by creating meaning out of the suffering that I felt over the course of my life with my mom. And it's allowing me to move forward. So I can turn those hurtful episodes into blessings. And it will help me continue to grow. I really want to renew this relationship with my mom. My mother was a wonderful combination of the qualities of hard work, creativity, determination, being excessively strict, and she was full of judgment. And underneath all of that, I know that she loved me. I know that she did the very best that she knew how to do. She was human after all. She taught me to be independent, and she gave me the confidence to do anything in this world that I set my mind out to do. And she passed down the work ethic of her ancestors.